2 lions, 1 dragon. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this podcast at your own risk. It does contain swear words and you may be offended.
Right, so it is episode 6 of the 2 Lions, 1 Dragon podcast. Good evening, fellas. How are we?
Football's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming. How are you, Trig?
I gotta leave.
How are you, Trig?
So I had that at 30 seconds, Trig.
30 seconds
neither
in.
of us got it that early.
Did you put a wager on while you were waiting for me?
We should have.
Nice.
We should have, yeah.
Anyway, I'm guessing that Luke and I are over the moon. How are you, Mr. Trig? Let's get
I'm
your
alright,
feelings.
As I've said throughout this podcast series, I'm just there for the ride. I'm there to enjoy myself for the tournament, enjoy watching my country at the European Championship. If we go out, we go out. I'm not putting all this media shitty pressure like the English media are doing. I'm just there. We're all supporting the boys. It didn't end how we wanted it to end, but it is what it is. We'll be at the World Cup, no matter.
He sounds bitter, doesn't he, Luke? He sounds bitter.
It sounds a little bit upset.
He does.
I'm not upset.
Look
I'm
at.
upset about.
I'm not crying.
You're not
You
kidding
are.
anyone. You're not kidding anyone.
So we all know the scoreline. It finished Wales 0, Denmark 4. Got a few points, and as we've touched on it already, the performance of the officials.
Let it
I
out,
will
Trig.
start with you, Trig, because we've had our income rant previously. You can have your refereeing rant now. Go.
Over to you, Flower.
I mean, when was it? Saturday? Kind of over it now.
Yeah.
I mean, the second goal shouldn't have stood. It was a foul on Kiefer Moore. We all know that.
Agreed.
Everybody knows it, except for the ref and the VAR.
Agreed.
So early in the second half as well, they had we wanted to come out strong in the second half after the first goal. Obviously, witnessing the tackle and then going on to score. It wasn't great defending from Nico Williams, but it should have been a free kick. But meh.
A few of the players were almost stopped playing as well, didn't they?
I think it was a mental dampener more than a. You know, we could if the goal went in differently and it was a different scenario, then I think we could have come back a bit better. But
I think the team talk went out the window, didn't it? You know.
Yeah, as soon. Well, you've got a game plan for the second half, and
Exactly.
situations like that aren't. You can't help them. You get tackled, the referee doesn't give it. They go up and score. It's out of your control, apart from Nico Williams, a little shit.
Yeah.
Especially, well, I mean, we talk about the ref, but the VAR officials have to take some flack for it as well.
I was going to say, for me, that was some of the worst officiating, if not the worst officiating of the tournament so far. We've been very, we praised them a lot, basically.
Been fortunate with the refereeing performances of the Euros compared to what we get in the Premier League, but I mean, there was so many circumstances. The second and the Harry Williams red card where
Oh my God.
the VAR officials should come in and go, hang a minute, mate. At least go and have a look at the pitch side camera.
Yeah.
Was it the intent though? Do you think that?
I mean, the intent on the Harry Wilson challenge, you're going into it's a frustrating challenge. On the outset, you know he's frustrated going into the challenge, but is it that you're endangering the opponent that much?
Yeah.
As he
never a red.
Bringing up the Sweden one, for example, they're both red cards. Apparently, they're both red cards. I mean, the Swedish one could have broke his leg, whereas Harry Wilson just clipped him cynically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the VAR, the ref. I mean, that game kind of.
It was a farce.
It was a dampener on what could have been a good officiating tournament, but. I mean, all the credit goes up to Denmark as well for, rallying after the Ericsson incident and getting out the group and kind of shoving a royally big shaft up our arse.
Yeah.
It was a very good team performance from Denmark, and the one thing that we've highlighted on here was how good Dan James was, and they really kept him quiet.
Yeah, they did. The tactical change right at the start where they dropped Christensen into midfield kind of
Stuck him on Rambo.
stopped Ramsey from getting the ball. I mean, Bale had a good 20 minutes after that. He didn't get any
Had a great
service.
early chance, didn't he? He started very bright.
It kind of went out of the game after the first 20 minutes when the service stopped coming to him. But
Yeah,
I mean, we were there for a ride. We weren't expecting anything. Nice to get out of the group that we had. It's just a shame.
What about the fourth goal, Drake? How long they were talking on VAR for that one as well, weren't
think
they?
you knew.
Yeah,
great goal for being.
I mean, it goes down to the rule with the margins for offside. I mean, if a call is that tight, then it can't come down to, or whatever what do you call it when an obvious error by the ref.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's that tight, it's not an obvious error. He might have got, and it might be an inch offside. If he's an inch offside, it's not really an advantage, really, unless he's poking the ball home, which he wasn't. So, I mean,
I think you kind of knew that.
You have to have a margin.
As soon as they went to VAR, the way the game was going, you just knew they were going to give it to Denmark.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't make a difference, did it?
Anyway, so
Didn't
I
make a
mean, there's no
difference.
complaints our end, or for my end. I'm not speaking for the whole
But
of
they just
fatherland, but
Wales just didn't click, did they? You know, Denmark made that change, and then Wales did nothing to counteract that. And who does that fall on, Drake?
I think I'd say a lot of blame, but I mean, we played the same system for 3 games in the group stage, and got out luckily after beating Turkey, and narrowly only losing to Italy 1-0. But after that, I think Rob Page needed to expect that who am I talking about? Denmark would have knew how we were going to set up, because that's our best side. And obviously I'm going to glaze over this quickly, but we flew to Baku, played there twice, flew to Rome, and then fucking flew to Amsterdam with no fans. Stopping there before I get in.
Are you okay, Han?
Yes, we were a bit tired. I think it's you have to bring in new faces to start. I think they would have put a lot of energy in, like Harry Wilson could have started, David Brooks could have started. I reckon Tyler Roberts could have had a start as well. He's had
Tyler Roberts.
where he's started, but I think Rob Page was too safe, and I think he expected a little too much from the players who started every game, especially with the heat of Baku and travelling and all that. I think it just was a bit too much in the end.
Does that come down to his lack of experience, and also obviously you've got quite a young squad, so some of their lack of tournament football compared to the Denmark squad?
Yeah, I think so. I think we played the same system for 3 games, and they set up to, if we did play the same system, they could change to counteract it very quickly, which they did, and then they hammered us 4-0. So I think Rob Page can't be blamed for a 4-0 loss on the pitch, but I mean, I think he can take some criticism for how we started. But I mean, we're Wales at a European Championship, can't really complain about going out in the round of 16.
Would you keep him? Or?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got other group with Switzerland, Turkey and Italy, so I mean, it's not the worst performance. We could have been worse with Ryan Giggs, but I think we need a more established
I'd agree with you there.
Coach to bring the younger players through and give them more experience.
Talk about being at a tournament, maybe. Like, obviously you can't have a Welshman for that, but like tournament experience, maybe something like that might help. But
I'll ignore that. Absolutely. Just because England won and we're out doesn't mean you can throw the insult at everyone.
There's
come on to England and I'll have my.
There's plenty more to come. But just my last point on that. Do you think you will qualify for the World Cup?
Yes.
Okay, next question. Let's go.
I don't think we'll top the group because we're in with Belgium. But I think we got a group that we think we can. Well, I'd like to think we can easily get out of through the playoffs. Because I think we're in a smaller group, so only first go through automatically and second go into playoffs.
So do you have more, as a Welsh fan now, Trig, do you have more hope when you watch them in the qualifiers that you will actually qualify for these tournaments after qualifying for the previous 2, you know?
I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how I describe it.
Or expectation, a bit more expectation for them to do well.
I think with us Welsh fans, we don't really, because obviously we haven't had great success at getting the tournaments. There's not really an expectation, and with how frantically demanding English fans are, I'm not tarring you all the same brush, but I am at the same time. We don't really demand a lot from our players. We just want to get behind them, give them confidence. And hopefully, can I hope we qualify? Now I kind of think there's a bit more hope because we qualified for the last 2 Euros.
You got the taste of it now, haven't you?
The World Cup. The World Cup is where we kind of want to be now.
Yeah.
Like we went out to the same stage as Netherlands, Germany, France, Portugal. So we're in with those teams. So I mean, I don't see why we can't compete with them at the World Cup. I know we haven't got the greatest squad in comparison.
Was it the?
I would say
we can do it. We can do it. Up the boys! Up with the boys!
England 2, Germany 0. Off you go.
Football's coming on. It's coming. How good?
It's going to chat with you.
How good were England last night, Luke? Super good.
They were good after the.
Hang on now. I want to pose a question to you two now. When Gareth Southgate names his next team, I don't hear anything from you two.
Actually,
hang on. Because in my defence, until Jack Grealish came on, there was nothing.
But he
really
played
happening.
it perfectly, though. He's like, we deflated the Germans, and he brought Grealish on. He made the substitution.
He played it fucking perfectly, hadn't he?
He made the substitution at the right time as well. He could see that,
he did. And
Saka and Sterling ran the Germans ragged. The back three. Rudiger was absolutely shocking, and
feeling a living, that man.
He was afraid to get anywhere near Saka, and then all of a sudden you bring Jack Grealish on, and they're dealing with a whole new kettle of fish. Is that what they say? I don't know.
Different kettle of fish.
That's the one. That's the one.
It's the same thing.
But I thought the team selection. I knew Trippier was on there for set pieces, and boy did he deliver some decent set pieces. And then obviously the Toni Kroos and Goretzka, they got held by Rice and Phillips in midfield. Because they're decent players as well. I think Jurgi Löw made a mistake by starting with Werner though. He's been shocking all season, and it just sums him up when he went through with Jordan Pickford and he missed, even though Pickford's been amazing. Yeah, Pickford's been amazing.
Werner went through in the first half as well. He had a chance and Pickford made a good save.
Yeah. I think I missed that.
Pickford's been for England. He's been immense. Pickford. I hate that he's got a connection with Sunderland. He hates Newcastle fans. But when it comes to England, he hasn't let the side down.
He definitely hate you, let me tell you. Newcastle fan.
But
I think with Grealish coming on, I think Trig and I were talking about it before we started this and you came on the call, Charlie. But when Grealish came on, it actually allowed the wing backs of Trippier and Shaw to play as wing backs and play higher up.
We started to do that in the first
half. Until that changed, they were a bit too deep for me.
Yeah, when we were the first 20 minutes, I was on edge. I thought, oh god, Germany
me too.
have pinned us back. We can't get out of our half. But then we started moving up the pitch a bit more, and Trippier and Shaw were starting to do what they were doing to us, and they pinned them back. And then that's when we had like Sterling's chance, and we were winning quite a few corners as well. But yeah, Germany are a good side. I don't know whether it's got something to do with they were in a group of death and everyone from that group is now out because they're exhausted from playing each other. But we just
they're just a good side now, aren't they? They're not a very good side. The players, I think they're just a good side.
Fearful.
We just controlled the game again, didn't we? There wasn't a point where I thought Germany were gonna score, apart from when Müller was through and I was shitting myself. But apart from that chance, they didn't look like they were going to score, and we had a lot of the ball in the second half. And I think
Pickford makes a good save early in the second half
against Havertz.
Remember to Havertz.
Yeah, that was a hell of a save. It was pretty much straight at him though.
Still got to make it.
Yeah, still got to save it. But I think, with our goals, we just went down the left, flung the ball in, and we scored again. So, that's the problem when you play the three at the back, is that no one really knows who's picking up the main man. They all kind of floated in between. And you look how much space Sterling's got on the first goal. And I think as well, like the first half, Harry Kane, he didn't drop deep as much as he had done. He was playing on Hummels, but then he started to do it in the second half, and it started to open up a lot more space.
He didn't have much luck in getting the ball to his feet. Cause I think that's kind of a plan of Southgate as well, because I think Germany expected Kane to come a bit deeper. Ooh, lads. And I think with Kane playing on their toes so much, they were like, oh yeah, we're winning this duel with Kane.
Yeah, it was too easy for
us. Three are kind of like bossing him out the game, but then obviously Guzens and was it Ginter? No,
Kimmich on the right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Kimmich, I think, because they were going forward, it left so much space for Sterling and Saka to attack Ginter and Rudiger. So it was a tactically good
masterclass.
I don't think it's a side that he really wanted to play.
No.
I think it's a team he had to play.
Yeah.
And it was a man.
He's very pragmatic.
It was a man against
again.
man. Yeah, I think he'd done it so that I was listening to Stuart Pearce on TalkSport, and he said, man for man, we were so much more athletic than the Germans.
Yeah.
That we just ran them off the game, and I think Southgate kind of knew that.
Yeah.
And I think man for man, I think England done a lot better. But on the other hand, I don't think Germany played too well, and I still think England have got a better performance.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think we played. You could tell when the players came out that the first 20 minutes when Germany bossed the ball, they were nervous. They're very nervous.
And Rice getting that early yellow card as well.
And Phillips as well.
I need to hold my hands up because I was giving Rice in the first 20 minutes all kinds of stick. But he grew into the game.
And I loved it.
He grew into the game, and fair play to him. They both stayed on with the yellow, and that takes a lot of maturity in tournament football, especially against the team that I thought were leaving the foot in a few times and being a little bit cynical, that can rile you in a normal match. So
you could just tell though that the players were up for it when you the way Harry Maguire is going up for headers, he's going through Miller. He's bringing the ball up from his own defensive line, saying, "Come on, lads." There's no doubt Harry Maguire makes a difference to the team as well.
Oh, huge.
Instead of going left, right, at the back about 10 times, he's looking forward. And if there's nothing on, he'll bring it up himself.
Still haven't conceded either.
Yeah, we've been pretty solid, and that was a weakness in Russia. I think when we played there, it's pretty much the same defense, but we were thinking, oh god, this defense isn't great, But they seem to have matured. I don't know whether that's because they played with each other a lot, But there's something about Stones and Maguire together as a partnership. I'm really happy with,
I think Stones and Walker playing together for most of the season and having a good season as well.
Walker's been very good.
So you've got two sides that have both played together and had good seasons together.
Yeah, Walker was very important yesterday, and I thought he had a hell of a game as well. Like when the Germans broke through and he'd sprint back, and he's just so good at that, isn't he? Like covering and stuff like that. But
there's a good mix of experience and inexperience. Like you've got Pickford, who's got a couple of tournaments under Kane, Sterling, Walker, and Trippier with the World Cup, but then you've got Saka, Rice, and Phillips.
Shaw as well.
Shaw, who haven't had that experience, but I mean that mix of experience and then inexperienced confidence.
Yeah,
they gelled well together.
They played the game perfectly yesterday, I thought.
And importantly, Kane got on the score sheet.
I
was too excited, Charlie.
I was so happy for him. It must have been that message I sent him the night before on the Instagram.
It's like
when he did his celebration,
Charles Reese has messaged me. I'm going to score tomorrow. I feel it.
Oh, do you know what,
when he did his celebration, I thought they were recreating the dentist chair.
It was almost... That would have been brilliant. Yeah. That would have topped up. But I just love the passion from the players during the game as well. You know, like Declan Rice down in the corner, Kieran Trippier riling the crowd up. Come on, lads! And I just like the whole day I was just so nervous, and it was just the perfect ending. Like, and as soon as the game finished, I rung my mum up on FaceTime, and I was crying to her because we'd just beaten the Germans.
Why is it every time England have played, you've had a situation post-game? The last game you got drunk and spewed at your Chinese. This time you cried on the phone to your mum.
Well, do you know what, though? It's like, I mean, that game is so important to English fans. And, like, being a kid in Germany for 8 years, growing up there, and, like, playing football in the park against Germans and stuff. And, them, like, giving the jibes because they'd beaten us and stuff like this. And it's just, like... It was just a perfect crescendo at the end. Wembley, 40,000 England fans. We knocked Germany out of a major international tournament, and it was just. And for Gareth South.
Bloody penalties.
Oh, do you know what though? We would have beaten him. But you got to feel for Southgate as well. When I watched his interview. And he said that when David Seaman came up on the screen, and he was like, I can never fix that, but I can try and give them another day to remember.
Yeah.
And I got a bit teary about that because it obviously plays on his mind. And I think they were saying as well that the goalkeeper that saved the penalty, he was on the Germany bench as the goalkeeping coach.
He was, yeah.
Can you imagine that, like looking over, and that prick there who saved your penalty. Do you know what I mean?
I have seen the kit man. I think the kit man
said
for
about
England
Kane's
said about Kane's
pre-match
team talk. Yeah,
I
and
watched
he said
that.
it
Then,
was so inspiring. So I just saw it on Twitter because I think he's the Albion kit man as well, Pat Frost. So like I follow him on Twitter, and he was like, I knew at that moment we had the game.
Yeah,
and
I'll have a look at that.
That's where Kane leads, I think. And you've got to give a round of applause to Southgate, not just because of the result, but also the other focus of it is it's not always about football. The last 18 months have been shit for everyone, and he was like, I've given people a moment to go back.
The thing is, though, he's just like, he's been spot on this tournament. You say about you could argue the Scotland game, but we didn't lose the game. And we didn't have to go out and win it, did we? But I think he's picked the side that he thinks will win him the game. He's not been influenced by anyone in the media, anything like that.
And that's the good thing.
But he's got a big decision to make now because Saka's played well, Sterling's scoring goals, and Grealish is creating them. So the only one who's going to come out would be Saka, I think. But he runs and he runs and he runs and tires out the defenders. And I think he plays really well. But yeah,
I've been really impressed with Saka.
And you can't take Sterling out.
I think it's perfect kind of going into the Ukraine game. I think it's played into your hands so well that they went tonight nearly with the penalties against Sweden. After
like kick away,
hearing after the game that Yarmolenko has limped off, one of the best centre half limped off. I think they both probably will play, but they're going to be tired.
How long for?
It's going to be the most prime opportunity to rest players.
Yeah.
But whether he will, I don't think it's going to be a lot of changes. But I think he will. I think he will give Sterling a rest maybe, and I think he will bring Henderson in. But whether he's going to make whole lot changes,
I don't think. I think Sterling will want to keep going because of the Golden Boot, isn't it?
Yeah, but
and he's diving to him. I mean,
it's a perfect time to rest him.
Yeah, when you look at his stats though, like for England, isn't it? What they say, he scored he's been involved in 18 of the last 20 goals or something like that, and that's incredible.
I think for me, the moment for Sterling and England was that game against Spain, where a while ago now, and then he's just sort of kicked on from there, and he's been really impressive. And I think I completely agree with Trig. It is a good time to probably rest. Not making it ridiculous.
I don't think so, but like get the game won first. I would say get the game won, and then if it's like the 60th minute and we're 3-0 up or something like that, then you can start making changes. But I think
so. Would you keep the same 11
I wouldn't keep the same 11 because I think there'd be a formation switch back to the 4-3-3. So you're looking at an extra midfielder coming in. So it's probably going to be, you could put Grealish in there, I guess, or Mount coming in. And I think Trippier...
I'd probably play Mount over Grealish, although he's set up the goal. I think Mount is more suited to a middle three than Grealish.
Or Trippier will be the one to lose out, I think. Can we win it, though? Can we win it? I think we can certainly get to the final.
Opportunity to win it.
Yeah. We got to get to the final.
I don't think, especially with the media and a large section of the fans, I don't think you're showing a lot of teams of respect by shouting it's coming home already. I mean,
no.
Yeah, but that's just the fans.
I get the sentiment behind it. I get it.
That's the fans, though. It's
still got.
It's the team, isn't it?
Teams to beat.
You want the team to have the mentality, and they're just letting us enjoy it. And I think from you say on the team, every interview they're all like, we're just focusing on the next game. Whereas before, I think England fans would have got would have got a bit caught up in the hype. Yeah.
Whereas I think Gareth Southgate and his team have worked.
They're so grounded,
incredibly hard to sort of be like, right. Because he said it in his interview. They said, it's a great result. And he's like, yeah, it's only great if we win the next game.
Yeah.
And I love that comment because it's almost like...
It was a shame. It was a shame that it was just a round of 16 game, wasn't it? Such a shame that.
I think in previous tournaments as well, you had it was all off the pitch stuff as well. Like you had the wag culture. You had Rooney's antics off the pitch. John Terry's antics off the pitch, whereas with this team in the past 2 years, apart from the Walker having love child incident, I mean, there's nothing off the pitch.
Yeah.
Apart from the son being fucking racist, everything Sterling every couple of years.
Yeah.
But I mean, apart from that, there's nothing off the pitch which has been good for the players.
No metatarsals. Seem to have
Luke, no! Why did you say that? Why did you say that? Do you know what though?
What I mean is there were tournaments. I remember was it?
Yeah, with two in succession.
But it just used to be. It just used to be every player had a metatarsal in any team injury, and then that injury seems to have gone. There was
a moment as well when Phillips and Rice were on those yellow cards. I was like, please don't do a Beckham 98 or Rooney 2006. Don't lose it.
But that shows his faith in them as well.
I don't think that Germany had the guns to hurt you after you went 1-0. I think it was fairly comfortable, even if you did have. Even if you had to pull Rice or Phillips off.
They look knackered.
Henderson could come on, you can shuffle the formation to go more defensive, and
to bring the likes of the players like Jack Grealish, Marcus Rashford, and people like that off the bench, it stands you in good stead, doesn't it, for the latter stages?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other games.
There's still time.
Because I need to. There is. So, firstly, Italy, Austria. So the first time Italy have really been tested and they got taken to extra time. Well, forget the first 90 minutes because they were absolute shit.
Was the goal offside though?
It was Arnautovic. It was just offside, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but I
mean, it was
very
close. How thick are those lines, isn't it?
Yeah, how obvious is the error? Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have been that.
Because they would have been out.
Give it.
That was before the 90 minutes was up, wasn't it? They would have been out.
It seems so long ago.
It does, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure. But no, that shows that the Italians are human.
I called it as well, Federico Chiesa being one to watch.
It was a cracking goal. Fair play, cracking goal.
Yeah.
I thought he was
celebrated.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to start doing keepy-ups when it came to him. He was like, off the head, on the right foot, on the left foot. Yeah, get in, son.
But it was a largely uneventful game, bar the 3 goals extra time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of eventful games,
should we move on then?
Let's talk about
the rest of them.
The rest of them.
Yeah, that's good. Well, so the next game was Belgium, that I had on my list, was Belgium-Portugal, which again, another slow starter, but the last 20 minutes of that,
Yeah.
That was
Indeed.
exciting.
But you see that,
Great
don't
goal.
you? With
Yeah,
knockout football, you got to go for it. And I'm just glad Ronaldo's out and there's no more penalties to his name.
and also there's doubts over De Bruyne and Hazard, so they look a little weaker. Belgium as well.
What a goal though from Thorgan Hazard, right? What a
Bruno
goal.
Fernandes who?
Would
All he
Rui,
good for scoring penalties.
should Rui Patricio have saved that though? You know, when you look back at it, his positioning was out a bit, wasn't it?
I think he's got to do. The ball does swerve, but I think he's
It's
got
not
to do
right
a
in the
little
corner
better.
though, is
Well,
it?
I'm not a keeper.
It's
I'm
not
a
right in
keeper.
the corner.
No.
But it was obviously he took his chance, didn't he? And it went in.
Yeah, when the commentary came up on my phone, it said Hazard hits a worldie. It was like, right, I need to watch this, and then my first reaction was, that's not a worldie.
Yeah.
It's a good strike, isn't it?
It was a good strike. He
Yeah.
caught the
It's not a
keeper
Pogba
out.
goal, is it?
No, that Pogba goal
Oh,
though.
that was a good goal.
That was a good
Nice
goal.
little connection.
Let's go into that game. Nice little segue that was. Lovely. We're becoming professionals, gentlemen.
It's
So
always
that's up.
France, Switzerland, 3-3. France had 5 good minutes, and then Pogba did 17 celebrations, and they thought they'd won the game.
yeah. There was a lot of
Moussa
arrogance.
Sissoko on.
We spoke about that, didn't we? Like the French team had a lot of arrogance, and they thought
Yeah,
they thought
they'd
they'd
won
won
it.
it. Yeah, they thought they had won it. But fair play to Switzerland. They played well in that game, and they
They
started.
could have gone 2-0 ahead, couldn't they?
You know, the last
mean,
2 games they've
yeah.
started playing well, haven't they? Like they beat Turkey 3-1, was it?
Something like that,
And
3-1,
then
3-2.
they drew with France, scoring 3 goals. So they scored 6 goals in the last 2 games. So, you know,
Yeah.
that you should be worried that they can score goals.
I mean, we scored 2 past Turkey, so.
But they scored some good goals against France as well late on in that game, and they obviously had the
They did.
penalty
That's one thing
chance.
I wanted to come on.
That
Granit
Gavranovic goal.
Xhaka.
Oh, good lord.
Granit Xhaka, where has that player been in the Premier League? Matthew Trigg, go.
How long have we got, Trig?
About Granit Xhaka. I'm not talking about Granit Xhaka. I'll be here for, till we come to the next recording.
He always
But
plays
the-
well
the
for Switzerland.
Game of his
though, doesn't
life.
he? He always plays
I
well
mean,
for Switzerland.
I mean, you can kind of say the same for Bale and Wales. Bale plays better for Wales than he does for
Whoever he plays for
Spurs.
these days.
But I mean, that was a world like they say they're labeling it as one of the greatest European Championship performance of all time. And
Yeah.
I get when you're 3-1 down. I get the performance from there.
10 minutes to go, wasn't it?
But why can't you if you're potentially nearly 2-0 up against France? Why aren't you putting that performance and that
Yeah.
much intensity in?
Mhm.
For,
Sloppy
for
goals
Arsenal?
as
I
well,
don't
wasn't
think-
it? That they conceded.
I mean, he can fuck off and do it for Roma for all I care, to be honest. That's all I'm saying.
And talking about players who seem to do it for their country and not always doing it for their club, Pogba as well. He looked like a different player. That goal was just, but he just makes it look effortless.
Yeah, the goal was
Absolutely.
world class, wasn't it?
For the World Cup, though, when France won it, Pogba was so good. He was so good. And then you see him for United, and he's just like, whatever, I'm getting paid to do this week in, week out. I'm Paul Pogba. I can play if I
So
want.
do
I don't
you
have
reckon
to
it's
play
a
if I want. And that's the
motivation thing,
aura. I think it's his fucking agent. He's a massive bellend. You know, Raiola. He's the worst scourge on football since.
To be
fucking-
fair though, he has
I don't
got Kante next to him who runs, like a marathon every game.
Yeah.
It's very true.
But
Very true.
France literally had a good 5 minutes, and then some of the substitutions as well. Like Griezmann for me
Yeah.
is one of the most underrated players for France because he
He
does the
scored
amount
over
of
20
work he
goals
does.
this season.
The amount of work he does off the ball as well for them. Like when Switzerland started to come back into the game, he would have been an asset there, whereas Giroud and Mbappe weren't really going to be tracking back.
Yeah.
Kylian Mbappe.
Oof.
Never looked like scoring a pen,
do
did he?
you put him in the same bracket as Messi, Ronaldo? Because I fucking don't.
No, not right now. Like we've said, Trig,
I mean-
if you took his pace away, he'd be
He'd
Shola
be pretty
Ramiobi,
average.
French Shola
How
Ramiobi.
did he miss that chance? How
Oh.
did he miss that chance?
Arrogance.
I mean, you
Let
open
it
your
go
body
to his
up. I
left.
mean,
Arrogance, isn't it? Arrogance again.
I mean,
Playing with bloody Neymar too long, all this bloody trying to score
it is though, isn't it? Like,
brilliant goals.
he's in the PSG team, came second in a one-horse race.
Yeah.
In what is the Farmers League. I mean, if you're not scoring 30, 40 goals with the caliber they label him as, then I mean,
he should be doing better, isn't it? But especially at
he
tournaments.
should be doing a lot better.
But we've seen big stars flunk on the big stage, haven't we? It just wasn't their time, I guess.
Oh no, Simon.
They didn't.
Oh, what an own goal for one.
Great goal.
He got away with murder, hasn't he?
The lovely ankle man, wasn't it?
Oh my god. The pressure though, like how can you mess that up, isn't it? It wasn't like it came back at pace either, was it really?
I don't think he was under pressure.
He doesn't even get it.
I think it was the
opposite.
Goal.
I know.
I think he was so comfortable that he's taken his concentration off controlling the ball and what he's going to do next.
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't looking at it. Was
you're
he?
not looking at the ball. It's just one of
but,
those.
I think Spain deserved to win the game in the end and go through. Like Croatia were poor until the last 5
finally
minutes.
got his goal.
Yeah, shit early in the game, didn't I?
He's not prolific though, is he?
We all did.
I mean, even when he came to the Premier League and played for Chelsea, he was crap then. And you look at the top players like Aguero and when they come over and they actually score goals, it doesn't take them long to get going. But like even Werner as well, I don't think he'll get going this year. But like
it's the same wherever he's been. Morata with Real Madrid and Juve, he's not really been prolific in any sort of term.
But no, Spain are scoring goals.
In the team. Sorry.
I was going to say, Spain are scoring goals, so if you're scoring goals, you must be doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, it's against Slovakia and an aging Croatia, so I mean, Slovakia were terrible, and I mean, what a player Pedri is as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah, fair play.
Oh.
Do you need a moment? You got a box of tissues there.
No wonder Messi's staying with Barcelona. I mean, Jesus, imagine it's like a little Iniesta. Iniesta, like
good player.
Very good player. But,
yeah, he's one to watch out for in the future, isn't he? Do you think he'll play more now? Because I don't think he played much of the groups, did he?
I think he played against Slovakia and he started this game, but I think he has to in the next game. So they got Switzerland, So.
They do look rocky at the back, though, don't they?
Yeah. Who did they start with? They start with Laporte and
Garcia.
Yeah. Oh, Eric Garcia.
And then you got Azpilicueta and Jose Gaya.
I mean, Valencia struggled in La Liga this season. I know Azpilicueta won a Champions League, but I mean, 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
Laporte didn't play. I mean, you've got to look at. I mean, if it's Switzerland, you're looking at going, we could get a goal or two here.
Yeah, well,
they'll
be bouncing.
The substitutions that Switzerland made were bang on. Like you brought on the right back, he used to be at Newcastle. He had a bloody
Kevin
his life.
Babu. And Fabian Schär, what a penalty, son. What a penalty. Cool as you like.
There were some good penalties, weren't there?
Some of the Pogba's penalties. Like, you can't get more top corner than that.
What a
both his goal and his...
I was expecting that stupid run-up that he does. I said, I was going, Amy, watch this now. He always does this stupid run-up, when he does the slow and he's like jogging along for ages. But then he didn't. He just ran up, did a little stutter and bang. What a pen.
Goal.
What a goal.
Good pens.
Yeah, no, good pens. Good save as well. Good save for the last one.
Yeah. Netherlands 0, Czech Republic 2.
Forgot about this one.
Don't want to talk about it.
Once to watch for Charlie.
Because they were your tip.
Oh, I was so annoyed with Delict until I looked at my fantasy league and I realised he wasn't in it, and I thought he was.
I mean, they looked like they were going to win the game until he got sent off, didn't they?
Yeah, he's cost them the game. He's cost them the game there. But Patrick Schick, he looks like a decent striker, doesn't he? He gets a sniff of a chance. He might take it. They play Denmark, don't they, next?
He also looks like a bit of a knobber.
Yeah, he's been to a couple of clubs and he hasn't scored too many.
Yeah.
So, Maybe this is a Kickstarter that he needed.
Yeah. No, he's played well.
Maybe he's just a little bit of a shit.
So shikalaka.
Shikalaka. No, that'd be an interesting game, that Czech Republic Denmark.
Last one was the one we talked about briefly earlier. Sweden, Ukraine. I think we all had Forsberg in a Disney football team, so we're all good for that one.
He had a few good chat. He hit the post a couple of times, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't they hit the bar as well?
Yeah, I think he hit the bar and the post. Yeah.
I mean, I think Sweden will be disappointed to go out, but I think they both looked leggy towards the end.
The Sweden one of those where
is it a red as well? Because it didn't look like a red in like the full speed of the game, and then they slowed it down. Like when you're tackling, can you really control the
I think it comes down to the discretion of the referee that's playing it, because there was an incident the same kind in the Premier League, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was a Man City player who cleared the ball but followed through and kind of hit the player high. I mean, it's dangerous how he's followed through.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I think, when you look at the criteria, isn't it? And you say, is the foot above, what's it, like shin level or whatever? And, is the player at risk? And it ticks both of those boxes. So
letter of the law, he's
got to go.
Dangerous and a red card.
It's not a fair one.
It's a scenario where he's cleared it, but then can you move your leg away from hitting him with your studs that high? Probably. I mean, if he's made an effort to change the course of his leg, I haven't seen it in full time, so I don't know.
Yeah.
If he had the opportunity to change the course of where his leg was going, probably get a yellow because he's made an attempt to not endanger the player.
Have been some dodgy red cards, but anything above the
Harry bloody Wilson.
The sore subject as well. The one I wanted to mention, a little Ampadu, and then in the Belgium played and Lukaku did it, and there's not even a sniff of a card.
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips in the England-Germany game, it's
higher.
He got the ball. Situation.
Got the ball.
Where's VAR?
Didn't touch him.
He did get the ball. But that's what I mean. That there are some decisions here that are...
It's up for debate, isn't it? But
if it goes to a VAR for one, it's got to go to VAR for the other.
Yeah.
VAR shit everywhere. Fucking bid it. It's not coming home.
I tell you what, though,
not coming home.
there should be something like if they can't make a decision within 30 seconds or something, they should just say, "Okay, play on."
It's not clear and obvious, then, is it?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I say. They should give him like a 30-second window to get the pictures and go, "Okay, he's offside." But if they can't, play on.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a lot of the ref coming over to look at the monitors this time round, have we? I think we saw a lot of that back in the Russia and when it last.
They've done it a couple of times, haven't they? But obviously with like the Ampadu situation, I don't know if they've done it with the Sweden one, the Sweden red card.
I'm not sure.
More pens. I think we've seen it more for penalties.
I mean, if the technology and it's there for them to use, I don't see why they don't use it more often.
Yeah.
I mean, they only get to see it once in real time. I mean, if you've got an inclination of what you want to give, whether it's a red card, yellow card, penalty, foul, whatever, then obviously you've only got that inclination from what you've seen. And if you've only seen it once, that's what you're going to go with. But if you go and see it, you're going, oh, actually, no. Maybe it is a red card. Maybe it is a yellow card. I think they need to use it more often, and I think us as fans will have more confidence in its use if we see it used more often and correctly.
It's mainly the speed,
and with
isn't
conviction.
it? Yeah.
With conviction, exactly.
And that's the round of 16.
Oh.
That's the round of 16.
That is the round of 16. Charlie, remind us all how we can listen to the Two Lions, One Dragon podcast.
The drag.
Shall I do it in my Brian Clough voice?
Do whatever you want.
Feel free to do it.
Do you know who I am? I'm Brian Clough. I can't remember how to do it.
I'll give you this one because England won, right?
Come on, England!
From there.
I can't remember how to do it, but anyway, I'll give it a go. So, to follow the Two Lions, One Dragon podcast, go to Instagram at 2 Lions 1 Dragon Podcast. Don't you know who I am? I'm Brian Clough.